college football yesterday, and there are several. Hopeful that we'll have Drew on with us at 11 o'clock to talk about a little college football. More so than anything, I want to have Drew on because I want that man to have to talk about what my Iowa Hawkeyes did to his Wisconsin Badgers yesterday. Thoroughly beat them down, beginning to end. That game was not close, and it was fun to watch. Try not to give him a super hard time about it, but I'm definitely going to bring it up. We'll also talk Major League Baseball. We have the AL and NLCS matchups set. In fact, the ALCS begins tonight. NLCS Game 1 will be tomorrow, and we will discuss all of that here on the program on this Sunday, October 12th morning. Let's get things started, though, with tonight's matchup between the Chiefs and the Lions. This is a game that I think has some pretty serious implications, right? I have been accused of being super negative this week because I came in on Wednesday and was pretty open and honest about how poorly the Chiefs season has started, and that if they don't figure it out and figure it out quickly, this team is in jeopardy of not reaching some of the goals they have set for themselves this season. You're already 2-3 on the year. You've lost games that you should have won, and now you have to take on the best offense in the National Football League. But there are parts to this Kansas City Chiefs team's matchup against the Lions today that benefit, I believe, Kansas City. I think they do have several advantages in this football game. Number one, they have the better defense of these two teams, and that's fully healthy. I think the Chiefs are a more talented defense overall. From the front seven to the back end in the secondary, I think they are a better unit, and they're led by a better defensive coach in Steve Spagnuolo. The Lions do have the more talented offense. Let's be completely honest. If we're looking at this Kansas City Chiefs team, the only real advantage that I believe they may have in this football game today is at the quarterback position. And that's not to say Jared Goff isn't a good quarterback, because he is. It's just the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. I think the biggest advantage for Kansas City in this football game today is, frankly, the injury report. This Kansas City Chiefs team is extremely healthy, comparatively speaking, to Detroit. For Kansas City, the guys that are out in this game have been out for quite a while, right? Like Najee Johnson's on the IR, and of course, Rashee Rice has been under the suspension, and, all those different things. But the Lions are in a little bit different position right now. They have already said that they're starting left tackle Taylor Decker out for this game today against Kansas City, which more than likely means that the backup, Dan Skipper, is going to get the start today. He is a 31-year-old out of Arkansas. It's his 6th year in the National Football League. We'll see what happens. I don't know a ton about the guy, to be honest.
He's the tackle in the Cowboys game that the whole report eligible, was that a couple years ago? That's Skipper, the one who caught the touchdown, reported eligible, and then they told him he didn't report it, yada, yada, yada.
Interesting. He's played in 57 games overall in his career, making 11 starts, including 5 last season. But again, he is not the same caliber of player as Taylor Decker, certainly. So the Chiefs have a slight advantage along that side. The offensive line depth for this Detroit Lions team is pretty sparse, I would say, at the moment. Their backup left guard, Miles Frazier, is out for this game. Their backup right tackle and backup right guards in Colby Sorsdal and Jamarco Jones are both on the IR. So the Lions are pretty banged up along their offensive line. Outside of 4 of their 5 starters, one of those guys goes down, things could really go from bad to worse for Detroit along the front line. Defensively, the front 7 for this Detroit Lions team is pretty healthy. Outside of Zach Cunningham, who is their backup middle linebacker. He's out for this game Sunday. But Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, their linebackers healthy for this one. Their offensive line, Al-Quaiden Muhammad, DJ Reader, Tyleek Williams, and Aiden Hutchinson, all healthy, ready to go in this one. Their secondary, though, is dealing with some issues. Terrion Arnold, out, will not play in this game today. Their backup corner, Avonte Maddox, out, will not play in this game today. Third string corner, Khalil Dorsey, on IR in this football game. So right now, it really appears that the Lions have maybe 4 DBs, 5 healthy like corner types in this game, with Rocky Sin and Amik Robertson, who's their starting nickel. Their third string nickel is Arthur Mowlett. He's healthy for this game, I guess, and that's pretty much it. They got like 3 or 4 guys that are healthy in this football game that can play the cornerback position. There are questions surrounding both of their starting safeties. Brian Branch is questionable for this game today, as is Kirby Joseph. So if one or both of those guys is unable to go, then you're looking at Thomas Harper and Lauren Strickland to take over the starting safety duties. And then the only other safety they have on the roster who isn't hurt is Eric Hallett. So they've got 3 or 4 corners that are healthy right now and 3 safeties. Everybody else is banged up. The opportunity is there for this Chiefs passing attack specifically to really, really make some hay in this football game. Because I don't know much about, Lauren Strickland, I think, pretty young guy, I think. Like his second or third season in the league, he's maybe 24, 25. And he's an undrafted free agent out of Ball State. Don't really know a lot about him, to be honest. And then Thomas Harper, who is their backup strong safety. He's in his second year in the league out of Notre Dame. And I'm not entirely certain that he was drafted. I can't say I've heard much about him. He started his career with the Raiders, it appeared. No, Chargers. He was on their practice squad, and then he was with the Raiders last year. He got picked up and put on the Raiders active roster a season ago, and now he's with the Detroit Lions. He was an undrafted free agent out of Notre Dame. So your backups at your safety spots are undrafted free agents. I don't know. The decision surrounding Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph in this football game is going to be massive, I think, for Detroit's secondary. Not sure how that's going to go, but I think the Chiefs have an opportunity. Even if those 2 guys play, they're obviously not at 100%. So this Kansas City Chiefs passing attack is going to have to show up, I think, in a big way, right? Going into this football game, it feels a lot like, and I hate to compare it to another Jared Goff game against the Chiefs, but it sort of reminds me of, what was that, the 2019 season? That Chiefs-Rams game on Monday Night Football that went absolutely absurd. It was like a 51-49 final or something ridiculous.
I think both teams made it to the 50s, but yeah, that was a good game.
Trying to remember what
people
year
wanted
that
the
was.
Super Bowl to be that way.
Yeah, it was 2018. 54-51, the Rams won that football game. But Mahomes and Jared Goff combined for nearly 900 yards passing in this football game. They had 891 combined passing yards between the two of them, 10 passing touchdowns between the two of them. Mahomes had 6, Goff had 4. Biggest difference in the football game, honestly, Mahomes threw 3 picks in that game. Now, I believe at least one of them was a drop that was picked off at one point in the game. But regardless, Mahomes throws 3 picks in that game.
Also, there was a strip sack fumble return as well in that game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Mahomes had 5 turnovers in that football game. 3 picks, and he lost 2 fumbles. But, yeah, Tyreek, 10 for 215 and 2 touchdowns receiving. Kelsey had 10 for 127 and a touchdown. Chris Conley, 7 grabs for 74 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Never heard of him.
Chris Conley? Meanwhile, for the Rams, their leading receiver in that game was Brandon Cooks, 8 for 107. Josh Reynolds, 6 for 80. Gerald Everett, Cardero Hodge had a catch in that. Wow.
Never heard of him.
There's a lot of that in this football game. I mean, for the Chiefs, you've heard of like everybody that caught a pass. Tyreek, Travis Kelce, Chris Conley, Kareem Hunt, Demarcus Robinson, Sammy Watkins. How about this name? Here's one for you. Demetrius Harris. Shout out Demetrius Harris.
Never heard of him.
Tight end from Milwaukee. He went to Wisconsin, Milwaukee. 82 career catches in 7 years in the National Football League. Oh, my goodness. I just get the feeling that, like, there was this has that kind of feeling to it of, like, first team to score 40 or first team to score 35 is going to win this football game. Got to come down to who has the ball last. Because while I do think the Chiefs have a good defensive unit, there are problems. And even with Taylor Decker out in this football game, I haven't seen anything from the Kansas City Chiefs defensive line that tells me that they're going to make life difficult for Jared Goff in the pocket. They haven't generated pressure at a high enough clip this season. And the Lions, even without Taylor Decker, are going to be one of the better offensive line units that this Chiefs front four will have seen all year. And so I think regardless of what I think of that Chiefs unit, they're not going to be able to generate enough pressure, I don't believe, in this football game. And the Lions are just too talented with their offensive skill position players, with that dual running back attack of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, as well as, you know, the receivers with Jamison Williams being an absolute burner and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta, who has quietly started to put together a much better year. So I legitimately, I think Mahomes is going to have to go for 350 and 4 touchdowns in this football game. I think he's capable of it. I certainly believe that. Even if those 2 safeties in Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch do play, even if they play, I still think Mahomes is capable of it. If they don't play, Mahomes could have an absolute throwback game in this one. I mean, he could go for 400 plus and 5 total touchdowns. That's the kind of game that Mahomes could put together in this one. 913-586-7965 is our number. We'll take a look at the text line here as we go throughout the show and continue to talk a little Chiefs Lions as well as just the NFL Week 6 in general, because we do have a game going on right now in London, if you're paying attention. You're listening to After Hours. Logan Weber here with you alongside Jacob Mustard, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Hey, football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown in the game, but his teammate scores instead. If this happens, BetMGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. With BetMGM's second chance offer, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line. Try a first TD score wager with confidence today. BetMGM. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
What's up, guys? It's Drew. Well, we're in the heart of football season, and the players, they got to be on their game and at peak performance and ready to go when it matters most to try and get a win on Sunday, Saturday, whatever time of the week they play. You also have to be ready and confident where it counts. I'm talking about Blue Chew, a small chew for a big difference. Day nights just got longer and better for everyone because showing up matters during life's most exciting moments. Turn oh no into oh yes with Blue Chew. It'll have you feeling fantastic. Be ready when she is. It's not just about performance. Confident where it counts. Give her group chat something to talk about because nothing makes you more of a legend than a little Blue Chew. Discover your options at BlueChew.com and get your first month free when you use our promo code KFNZ at checkout. Just cover $5 for shipping. That's BlueChew.com and get your first month free. BlueChew.com and get your first month free. A small chew for a big difference. Then you'll be ready to chew it and do it.
Smokehouse Barbecue has always been our choice when it comes to barbecue in Kansas City. We love everything about Smokehouse Barbecue. And now Smokehouse has street tacos, their newest menu item. 3 flour tortillas, chopped burnt ends, and smoked sausage, plus corn elote and Cajun sour cream and a side. And now, every Tuesday, kids eat for $1.99 with the purchase of an adult entree. So visit Smokehouse Barbecue in Gladstone, Zona Rosa, or Independence, and at SmokehouseBBQ.com. It's Smokehouse Barbecue.
Let me tell you about this new pretzel cheddar club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, the original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Member Week is here at Lowe's. That means it's time for MyLowe's Rewards members to save big with up to 40% off hundreds of items like appliances, tools, home essentials, and more. Plus, get free standard shipping. Shop these exclusive member-only savings now through October 15th. Not a rewards member? Join for free today. Free standard shipping not available in Alaska and Hawaii. Exclusions and more terms apply. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
96.5 The Fan is your exclusive home for Chiefs football, with pregame starting 3 hours before kickoff with Josh Briscoe. Then it's the call of the game with Mitch Holtis, Dayton Hughes, and Josh Klingler.
Caught! Touchdown! Kansas City! Travis Kelce owning this game!
Followed by postgame coverage featuring exclusive one-on-one interviews with Andy Reid and Chiefs players inside the locker room. This is your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Talking Chiefs-Lions here on this Sunday morning edition of After Hours. Logan Weber alongside Jacob Mustard. 913-586-7965 is our number. Taking a look at the text line. Got a few questions here I want to answer. Somebody says, I'm going to tell you right now, Chris Jones is coming to play this week. There's no way around it. God, I hope you're right. Because it needs to happen. You know, I pointed this stat out earlier in the week. I guess CDOT did the same. That since Chris Jones signed that massive contract extension, right? After, I mean, just over the last 2 seasons, right? If you just look at Chris Jones in the regular season, the last 2 years after that massive contract extension, 20 games, 15 starts a season ago, 5 this season so far. He's got 6 sacks in 20 games. Mind you, prior to the last 2 seasons, he was averaging somewhere in the realm of like 11 or 12 sacks a season. In a 17 game regular season, he's had 6 in the last 20 regular season football games that he started. That's unacceptable. I'm sorry. That you can't justify that if you're the Kansas City Chiefs with the amount of money that he's being paid. And, you know, George Karlaftis is quietly having a pretty good year. I mean, I can say for myself, I personally have been a little bit harsh with my approach surrounding George Karlaftis. I mean, he's got 3.5 sacks so far this season in 5 games. 20 combined tackles, 6 TFLs. He's got 12 quarterback hits, meaning he's averaging over a quarterback hit and a half per game and averaging, just under a sack per game so far this year. Chris Jones has got to pick up his level of play because that's what the Chiefs want, is that pairing of George Karlaftis and Chris Jones doing their thing, because you can't double team both of them. And if you've got 3 guys blocking those 2 individuals, then you've got a one-on-one with your other 2 defensive linemen, whether that be Charles Omenihu or Omar Norman Lott, which I'm hoping and praying. Somebody in the text line said that they believe Norman Lott is going to be good. And I agree. I think Omar Norman Lott can be a good football player for this Chiefs defense. I say the same thing about Ashton Gelati. I'm just hoping that it happens very soon. Like, I'm hoping that click happens for Omar Norman Lott sooner rather than later, because Derek Nottie ain't getting it done. Yeah, I think we can all be honest with ourselves and say Derek Nottie should not be a starting defensive tackle for this Kansas City Chiefs football team. The sooner that Omar Norman Lott can supplant Derek Nottie, I think the better this defensive line unit is going to be. Otherwise, I think you need to go look for defensive line help. I hope you're right about Chris Jones coming to play this week. I think that he's had enough adversity hit him early on in this season, more so than maybe we've ever seen in his career, right? The week 1 game against the Chargers where he goes inside the block and allows for contain to break, and Herbert runs for the first down to pretty much put the game on ice, and him and Drew Tranquil get into it on the field. And then there's what happened, on Monday with the Trevor Lawrence play. I hope that he's always seemed to me like the kind of guy that takes the adversity and takes the hits and learns from it and gets better from it and uses it as motivation. Hopefully if Chris Jones could come out today and have like a 2.5 sack performance, like an NFL Defensive Player of the Week type performance, God, that would be fantastic. Maybe a strip sack in this football game would be great. I'd love to see this defensive line finally put it together. I got another text from an 816 says, I would be running if I were the Chiefs because I would want to make those backup safeties show me they can tackle. I half get what you're saying. I will point out first and foremost, if your safeties are making consistent tackles in the run game, there's a problem in your front 7. And frankly, that hasn't really been an issue with the Detroit Lions. Their front 7, their D-line and linebackers are among the best in the National Football League. Don't believe me? Look at the numbers. Right now, the Detroit Lions are, I believe, 7th in the National Football League in rushing yards allowed per game. They only give up 92 yards a game on the ground. That's pretty damn good. Like I said, 7th best in the National Football League. You look at the sack numbers for this Detroit Lions team, 16 of them in 5 games. That's the second most in the National Football League, behind only the Denver Broncos. So the safeties for Detroit, I don't feel like are going to be generating a ton of tackles. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but the numbers this year don't seem to back up the thought that the Detroit safeties like to get down inside the box and make plays. That's just not really what they do. I mean, you look, Brian Branch is their 3rd leading tackler. Okay. Kirby Joseph is their 8th leading tackler. Derek Barnes and Jack Campbell, who's quietly had a really good year. Shout out the Iowa Hawkeyes, you know what I'm saying? He's had 48 tackles so far this season. Derek Barnes has 34. Anzalone is their 4th leading tackler. Terrion Arnold and DJ Reed both have more tackles than their starting free safety in Kirby Joseph. So I think, and to bring up the second part of that text that they said, running the football, good play action could destroy or would destroy the Lions secondary. I like that point that you bring up about utilizing the running game to set up the play action, right? Because you can't get overly one-track minded if you're the Chiefs, even despite the fact that this Lions front four or this Lions secondary is really, really banged up. I just think that you can't get predicated on the running game because this Detroit Lions front seven is the strength of their defense. They are a very sure tackling unit with what their defensive line brings to the table, their ability to get into the backfield and generate TFLs and sacks. Their linebackers fill gaps really, really well. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with establishing the running game to set up the play action as long as you're not sacrificing the passing game in order to set up the play action by using the running game, if that makes any sense. I think that the passing attack is what's going to win you this football game. I don't really think that the running game is going to win the Kansas City Chiefs a football game here. And until the day that they bring in another running back, which we'll see if that happens. You know, reports are flying around everywhere that the Chiefs are reaching out to teams regarding running backs, guys like Breece Hall and Alvin Kamara and maybe a couple of others. Same person just responded back. I hear what you're saying. What I meant to say is that you want to make those backups confused on what's coming and try to make them make decisions that will hurt them in the back end. Yeah, fair. That's talking about the play action, I think can play a huge factor in this football game. This feels like a game that the Chiefs' offensive line is going to have to make their biggest statement of the season, right? Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, we know what those guys bring to the table. Jawan Taylor, the last 2 weeks, really, he's not, excuse me, he was not penalized once against the Baltimore Ravens. And yeah, I know that there was a penalty called against him in that game Monday night against the Jaguars, but that was actually not on him. Tyquan Thornton was lined up on the football, covering up Jawan Taylor, making it an illegal formation, so that penalty wasn't really on him. He's actually been very much better penalty-wise over the last couple of weeks, and if you look at any sort of analytics, Pro Football Focus grades, and different graphs and things like that, Jawan Taylor's been one of the better tackles in the league in terms of both run and pass blocking so far this year, which has been a good sign. Josh Simmons and Kingsley Suamataia continue to get better every day. You go back and watch that Jaguars game. I know that it's going to maybe not watch the end of it, but you go back and watch Kingsley Suamataia in that Monday night game against the Jaguars. That's probably the best game we've seen from him in his career. And that Jaguars defensive line is pretty good. This defensive line for the Lions is even better. I mean, they're the second most sacks in the National Football League this year, led by two really, really good players in Aiden Hutchinson and Al-Quaiden Muhammad. Both of those guys up over 3 sacks already this year. Hutchinson's got 5 in 5 games. So these guys get to the quarterback. No question about it. And a majority of that does come from their defensive line. But they'll send pressure. No question about it. I mean, Jack Campbell and Derek Barnes have 3 sacks between the two of them so far this year. Brian Branch has a sack. Anzalone has a sack and a half. I mean, this is a Dan Campbell coach team. They will take chances, and they'll bring pressure. But it helps when you have a really, really talented defensive line. If the O-line can make a statement, if you can run the football just well enough to the tune of 4.5 yards a carry, that the play action becomes a legitimate threat, I completely agree with you that just making those safeties have to think. Just think about, okay, I may have to step up into the box here and make a play rather than just ball snapped immediately bailing out because the running game's not applying anything to the football game and you can just guess pass on every single play because it's not going to hurt you. The running game is not going to kill you in this football game. This O-line's going to have a big one, man. A really, really big football game. Somebody says, how big would it be for Josh Simmons to just shut Hutchinson down? It would be, massive for the Chiefs and massive for his confidence.
I know that I'm hard.
The problem is Aiden Hutchinson mostly plays left defensive end for the Lions, so he would more than likely be matched up for most snaps against Jawan Taylor and not Josh Simmons. But they might move him around. I mean, he's still going to be matched up with Al-Quaiden Muhammad, who has 3.5 sacks of his own this season. Regardless, it's going to be a big-time matchup. And we'll see what the Chiefs can bring. Right, DJ Reader as an interior defensive lineman, he's a really good player. He's a guy that is still going to probably generate some semblance of a double team you may have to bring on him, at least in the running game. You know, he's not a guy that necessarily wows in his sack numbers. I mean, the guy's been in the league since 2016. He's got 12.5 career sacks. But he's fairly solid when you look at the rushing game. I don't know. It's going to come down to this offensive line, I think. Just give Mahomes enough time to throw the football in. And if you can generate some running lanes for Mahomes, or for not Mahomes, even Mahomes, I guess, Pacheco and Kareem Hunt and Brashard Smith, I look forward to the possibility of him getting more carries. We shall see. As well as Noah Williams. Okay, Spags, play the man. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, okay, because Steve Spagnuolo is a much better defensive mind than I am. And anybody who says that they know more about defense than Steve Spagnuolo is a liar, and you should tell them that.
That guy's an idiot, man.
Exactly. But playing Noah Williams 3 snaps against the Jaguars, what are we doing? That's a highly questionable decision. I'd like to see him play a little bit more against the Detroit Lions because they have weapons galore all over the place. I'd like to see you be able to shut down the passing game a little bit more. I'd rather not see Shamari Connor and Jalen Watson get torched for another 60 minutes of football today. If we could prevent that, that'd be great. 913-586-7965 is our number. You're listening to After Hours. Logan Weber, Jacob Mustard, 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine. You could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt. But you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. But listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. That's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. Cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. Imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt. And you can stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. Get your all-cash offer now. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Hey, Zach, are you smiling at my gorgeous canyon view?
No, Donald. I'm smiling because I've got something I want to tell the whole world.
Well, do it. Shout it out.
T-Mobile's got home internet.
Whoa, I love that echo. T-Mobile's got home internet.
How much is it?
Look at that, Zach. We got the neighbors' attention.
Just $35 a month. And you love a great deal, Denise.
Plus, they've got a 5-year price guarantee. That's 5 whole trips around the sun.
I'm switching. Me too.
Yes, T-Mobile home internet for the neighborhood.
Donald, you still haven't returned my weed whacker.
Carl, don't you embarrass me like this, please.
What's everyone yelling about?
T-Mobile's got home internet.
And Donald's got my weed whacker.
Yes, T-Mobile's got home internet. Just $35 a month with auto pay and any voice line. And it's guaranteed for 5 years.
Beautiful yodeling, Carl.
Taxes and fees apply. See T-Mobile.com/ISP for details and exclusions.
Don't you just love an NFL Sunday? You got your boys, your couch, your snacks, your favorite games, and FanDuel is sprinkling in something a little bit extra. This isn't just a normal NFL Sunday. It's your chance to place that perfect parlay or hit your favorite go-to player prop, and they're making it even better at FanDuel because they're bringing the bonuses. That's right. All customers can get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. So however you play your game, FanDuel's got your back when it comes to putting a little extra into your account because that's what Sundays should feel like. Visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code KFNZ to download the app and get in on the action right before kickoff. And remember, FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of 96.5 The Fan and also the NFL. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Get up with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-351-4596. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-351-4596. 800-351-4596. 800-351-4596.
Just watching a little pro football in London, watching the Denver Broncos shoot themselves in the foot against potentially future Kansas City Chief Breece Hall in the New York Jets. Wishful thinking on my part? Quite possibly. Just try, hey, it feels like, you speak something out into the universe, it may come back to you, right? It may come true. I'm storyboarding, I guess, a little bit. Not sure. I will say I would have to have a real come to Jesus meeting in my own heart if Breece Hall were to get traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, because while I believe Breece Hall to be a significant upgrade at the running back position over anything the Chiefs have right now, there is something to be said for it being kind of cool that he's a Kansas City area kid, right? I think he went to Wichita Northwest High School. He went to school in Wichita. But unfortunately, there is one part of Breece Hall that I am going to have to really get over, and that is the fact that he's an Iowa State Cyclone. That's going to be a hard one to stomach, but if he helps my Chiefs win, then so be it, Nature of the beast. Right now, though, he is helping the Kansas City Chiefs, at least slightly at the moment. The Jets are up on the Broncos right now, 11-10. In yet another exciting rock fight in the National Football League this year. The people of London have to be absolutely thrilled by the matchups that they're seeing. 11-10? Really? Are we in the bottom of the ninth inning? Nope. There's 3 minutes left in the third quarter. So far, oh my God. Oh. This Jets offense is... it is. I feel like you should be allowed to sue. If you have to watch the Jets on national television, you should be entitled to financial compensation. So far in this game, Justin Fields is 7 of 12 passing for 34 yards. Breece Hall, 17 carries for 43 yards. Justin Fields, 4 for 23. Justin Fields has been sacked 5 times for 23 yards in this football game. Meaning, if you're looking at the total offense, the New York Jets have 79 yards.
BBL stinky.
And the Broncos are much better. Bo Nix, 15 of 21 for 125 yards and a touchdown. He's also got 3 carries for 26 yards, and then the running game dies. J.K. Dobbins, 8 carries, 19 yards. Evan Ingram has a carry for 7 yards. Troy Franklin, 1 carry, 2 yards. R.J. Harvey, 1 carry, 2 yards. Disgusting levels of football being had right now. There's barely 250 total yards of offense between these two football teams. There's less than 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Right now it's 10-11.
That's what you get for an 8:30 game.
The poor folks of London are like, really? This is football? This is what we're doing.
Like, I know the NFL talks about expanding, the viewership, and they want to do all these games. Well, send them a good match. Don't just keep sending them this game. And even if the Broncos were clicking, they'd be destroying the Jets.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even that it could. I mean, we're seeing a close game at 10-11.
Listen, and I know what bad offensive football looks like. Believe me, okay? As an Iowa fan, I know what it looks like. This game is the NFL equivalent of that Iowa-South Dakota State game from a few years ago that Iowa won without scoring a touchdown at all. They won the game 7-3 off of a field goal and 2 safeties. That's how they scored their 7 points. The New York Jets in this football game are winning 11-10 off of 3 field goals and a safety. And the safety they got was because of a holding in the end zone against the Broncos. The play by, the drive by drive breakdown of this football game makes me nauseous. Fumble, field goal, touchdown. All of that happened in the first quarter. That's the 5 drives of the first quarter. Since that point, punt, end of half. Field goal, punt, safety, punt. Ew. Somebody in the text line said, try knowing that you started Justin Fields in fantasy football. Oh, my. You poor soul. You poor individual.
I
hope you didn't start him because Mac told you to, even though you couldn't have because the game had already started by the time Mac was on air.
I also had to start him in a Superflex league because Lamar is also being held out. So
and there was no other quarterbacks on the waiver wire or anything.
Not at 8:30 in the morning. I wasn't going through all that.
And it's not like, this is strange to say at a certain level, but it's not as if Justin Fields had been a bad fantasy quarterback up until today.
He's been pretty good, but Mac did mention about 90% of his stats
are on the ground,
are in the fourth quarter.
Oh.
All in garbage time after they've been blown out.
That's an interesting point. I did not think about that. Yeah, so far this year, at least according to ESPN Fantasy, he's the 12th ranked quarterback in fantasy football, averaging 18 points a game. But that is an interesting point. You look at the teams that they've played, he put up 29 fantasy points against the Steelers, then put up 4 against the Bills.
It's your favorite. We get another punt.
Whoop-de-doo, man. It's awful.
We did have a comment just come in that says you won't see any great football played on a ryegrass surface. There's 40% less traction, and I'm not a huge grass person where I'll know the ins and outs. I just don't want them to play on MetLife surface.
Yeah. I'm not a big turf guy. I'm definitely not a whatever the hell. I don't know if MetLife does it, but I know they like the field in Arizona, like the dome in Arizona, where they have like the whole they pull the track out and they just that's dumb. Can we just leave the field alone? Like, hey, you've got a dome. Grass isn't gonna work, so just do the turf, please. I don't know. I'm not a big turf fan, but I'm definitely not a fan of whatever the hell those things are called. Like they do. I think Arizona's not the only stadium that does it. I think
Vegas did it.
They have. I'd rather eat porridge than watch this game. All right. I don't think I've heard porridge referred to in. That's a crazy pull. I'm sorry. The only time I've ever heard porridge referred to in my life was oh my goodness, what's that stupid children's story about the 3 bears? This one's too soft, this one's too hard, this one's too hot, this one's too cold, this one's just right with the porridge. What's the girl's name? It's not Little Red Riding Hood, is it?
I'm
Jacob,
pretty
help
sure
me out, man. I'm so lost.
I think you're right. I'll get it for you.
Because it's like she goes to the house of the three little bears. It's Goldilocks and the three bears. That's what I was thinking of. I knew it wasn't Red Riding Hood. Oh my God, why am I talking about this right now? Moving on. 913-586-7965 is our number. Let's talk a little NFL Week 6 preview. Let's talk about some of the other games that are happening across the National Football League that aren't this god-awful Jets-Broncos game that is being witnessed by so many people, including the poor folks of London, England at Wembley Stadium right now. After Hours, Logan Weber, Jacob Mustard, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Good morning, Casey's Country. Darn Good Coffee's now 49 cents when you buy any breakfast sandwich or burrito. Some are calling it a great deal. I call it sensational. I'm so sorry. Bad joke. Good deal, though. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. See store for details.
NFL Sunday's coming. You've got your crew, your couch, your snacks, your slate, and FanDuel's coming in with something extra. This isn't just another NFL Sunday. It's your chance to place that perfect parlay or hit your go-to player prop. And now we're making it even better because this week, FanDuel's bringing the bonus. That's right. Right now, all customers can get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. However you play your game, FanDuel's got your back with something extra in your account because that's what Sundays should feel like. Visit FanDuel.com/Alex to download the app and get in on the action before kickoff. FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
What's up, guys? It's Drew. You know, confidence is key. You hear that all the time when it comes to everything in your life. The players that we watch and all the winning that we see comes from players who are confident and are able to deliver when it matters most. What if you could be more confident where it counts? I'm talking about Blue Chew. They provide access to chewable tablets that help you feel and perform at your best. Stronger, harder, longer lasting, like someone gave your downstairs a pep talk and a gym membership. Because showing up matters during life's most exciting moments. Day nights just got longer and better for everyone. Be ready when she is. Turn oh no into oh yes with Blue Chew. This isn't just about performance. Nothing makes you more of a legend than a little Blue Chew. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. There's an offer for you there. You get your first month free when you use our promo code KFNZ at checkout. Just cover $5 in shipping. That's it. Head to BlueChew.com for details and safety info. Then you're ready to chew it and do it.
It's time to build that dream deck over at All Weather Decks. Schedule a free estimate today at 913-206-1974 or online at allweatherdecks.net. All Weather Decks, the right deck at the right price.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
With only 4 teams left in the playoff picture, who do you have pulling through to play for it all? Catch every pitch of the championship series at Twin Peaks, where the bases are loaded and 29-degree drafts are up to bat. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Listen, I'm as much of an anti-Denver Broncos person as anybody. And we actually disagree on this, Jacob. But I think Denver just got screwed. That looked like a catch, 2 feet, a football move going upfield, and Garrett Wilson got that. That looked like a fumble to me. I think that should have been Denver football off that fumble, and the Broncos had an opportunity to score. Just my thought.
I mean, I see where you're coming from. I think I just don't know if Garrett Wilson ever had full control of the ball. And it's like he does catch it, and it's like as he's starting to turn, Surtain gets his hand in there. So I don't think they ruled it as he ever had full contain of the football.
It definitely, at least to me, seemed like he had control of the football. But Garrett Wilson not having a great day. He got the benefit of the doubt with what was in turn an incomplete pass instead of a fumble. But he got into it with Aaron Glenn, apparently, at the end of the first half of this football game. I don't know how you couldn't. They're 0-5. They're an absolute dumpster fire. They have an opportunity to win this football game still, despite the fact that Justin Fields has only thrown for 38 yards, and he's been sacked 6 times. I don't know what is up with this. This Broncos defensive line is the most underrated unit in football.
At least the London fans are having a good time in the stands.
I hope they got a chance to drink. That's about the only way that I could get into this football game. I mean, the Broncos came into this game with 21 sacks on the year already, and they've got 6 in this one. And the fourth quarter just started.
So the rule analyst is saying that, so he gets the 2 feet down. They're counting the initial step, but the third, in his words, the third foot.
That is technically the football move step then? Okay.
Going upfield has to be completed, and the ball got punched out simultaneously as that was happening. And so it's again a toss-up. I'm just giving you the analysts.
Yeah.
Take.
I don't know the rules of football anymore. It seems like nobody does at this point. But
do we even know what a catch is?
No, we don't. We have absolutely no idea. But I do know that this Denver defensive line is the real friggin' deal. Good God. Nick Bonito has 7 sacks already this year? And he's got a half sack today? He's got 7.5 sacks in 6 games? Gross. As is this entire football game. But I want to discuss other things. I want to talk about other Week 6 NFL matchups that I find to be intriguing today. I also want to talk a little college football. So coming up at the top of the hour here, we're going to have Drew Nixon on with us. He is, of course, the producer for Cody and Gold, our midday show here on 96.5 The Fan. But he's also the host of the 249 Miles of College Football podcast here on the Odyssey Network. He is a college football aficionado. We're going to talk MU. We're going to talk KU, K-State. We may even get into a little bit of Missouri State conversation after they beat Middle Tennessee State in the earlier of the week. And, of course, I am going to give this man a hard time about Wisconsin football. That's going to happen. Coming up next here on After Hours, Logan Weber, Jacob Mustard, 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to Missouri. On December 1st, you'll finally be able to bet on all your favorite teams and all your favorite sports. With FanDuel, there's a ton of ways for you to get in on the action. You can bet everything from the money line to over-unders to which team will win it all. You'll be able to build parlays, bet player props, or even ride the live line. Whatever your style, FanDuel has you covered. Plus, with live betting, you can pick which player will score the next touchdown or the touchdown after that. However you play your game, FanDuel's got your back. On December 1st, you'll be able to see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, there's a ton of ways for you to get in on the action. FanDuel, play your game. FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine. You could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt. But you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. But listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. That's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. Cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. Imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt. And you can stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. Get your all-cash offer now. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Another summer is ended, and you may have noticed that your energy is lower, your workouts aren't as productive, perhaps you aren't sleeping as well and feel foggy all the time, maybe even your sex drive is off. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're experiencing some or all of these symptoms, it's likely you have low testosterone. And if that's what's going on with you, don't wait. You need to call us at Heartland Men's Health and get treated for your low T, because living with low testosterone is no way to live. With our low T treatments, if you're like most guys, your life will change considerably. Improved sleep, better energy, greater gains in the gym, better mental clarity, and your sex drive will likely improve as well. Plus, most men see these results in just a few weeks. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes PSA and T-test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
This fall, refresh your home with a special offer from Westlake Ace Hardware. Enjoy $10 off bin interior paint gallons October 1st through 31st. With an easy-to-apply, easy-to-maintain formula, Bin Interior offers an introduction into the beauty and durability of Benjamin Moore premium paint. Hurry into Westlake Ace Hardware for this limited-time savings and keep your spaces looking beautiful for years to come. Offer valid in-store only, so visit Westlake Ace Hardware today. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Talked a lot of National Football League the first 60 minutes of our show here on this Sunday morning. I want to change gears briefly and talk a little college football. And who better to discuss that with than Drew Nixon. He is the producer for the midday show here on 96.5 The Fan, Cody and Gold. He's also the host of the 249 Miles of College Football podcast. And Drew, I want to discuss MU and KU and K-State and maybe even a little bit of Missouri State if we have a chance. But I'm going to give you the opportunity here first and foremost to make your statement in regards to yesterday's Wisconsin-Iowa game.
I'm glad that it's college basketball season. That's all I can say. Thank you very much for having me on, Logan. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. I was thinking about hosting this morning, and I'm like, I didn't reach out to Drew to have him on, and I'm like, he may not even want to come on with me after what happened yesterday. How much longer is Fickle there, man? Because, I mean, I was having a conversation with my dad and a few buddies yesterday, and they're like, Wisconsin doesn't feel like the kind of program that would fire a coach mid-season. And I think, well, they fired Paul Chryst mid-season after winning 9 games the previous year. So I can't imagine Fickle's here through the end of the season. Can you?
No, I think it's really hard to, especially, them having a game against one of their top rivals and them no-showing at home, it just feels like this is the culmination of how the season has gone, and even really the last couple of years, where he gets hired and you have all these expectations. It looks on the face of it like a great hire with all the work that he did at Cincinnati and all of those things, but it just has not gone at all the way that Wisconsin football is used to being run. Like, they tried to do the air raid last year, which is a foreign language to Wisconsin fans. So in a way, he's kind of torn the program down. I don't like to phrase it that way, but the way that the fan base, at least it seems on social media, feels about it, it's just not fun to watch them play. And now they're losing games and getting shut out by rivals. It's just, and the schedule is not fair in some way, shape, or form. But there are no more excuses, I guess. I would assume Luke Fickell is gone, especially with some of the names that we have around college football right now who are really coaching well at the Group of 5 level, and then even some of the coordinators at the Power 4 level. It feels like now is the time to move on. I
would agree. And yeah, you mentioned that schedule. They've got Ohio State next week, and then you've got to go on the road to Oregon. You've got Washington, who is quietly having a very good year. They're 5-1 so far this season. You've got to go on the road to 7th-ranked Indiana. Illinois then comes to town, and you close out the year on the road against Minnesota, which is probably easily your most winnable game for the remainder of the season. There is a very real shot that the Badgers go 2-10 this year, and I think Fickell, he's got to go. That was an abysmal game, but we won't talk about that anymore. I want to discuss we saw. No problem. I want to discuss what we saw yesterday from the regional teams here around the metro area. Let's start over on the Kansas side. We'll talk about first KU against Texas Tech, a Texas Tech team that I have said for months is the best team in the Big 12. They showed it again yesterday. Jayhawks had a valiant effort in that first half, but it just seemed like in the second half, Texas Tech leaned on that running game, and the Jayhawks didn't stand a chance.
It's crazy because, and I agree with you, the way that Texas Tech has built the roster, like they're going to be the favorite. And then after what Arizona State did yesterday, losing to Utah got smacked by Texas Tech. It feels like even with Iowa State losing, Texas Tech is the team to beat, and I don't know if it's necessarily close. It's just a race for who's going to face Texas Tech in the Big 12 title game. But to your point, so I looked it up last night regarding Kansas. One thing I think that's consistent about this team, and I don't know if it changes, is the run defense is not good. Mm-hmm. They really, really have a hard time. Forget the Wagner game, forget the Fresno State game. The least amount of yards that they've given up in the 4 Power 5 games that they've had, or now 5 Power 5 games that they've had, is 181 yards. And they gave that up to a West Virginia team who's 2-4 and second to last in the conference. So it's just a theme for them. If you're facing a good run game, and I think this is where Kansas State actually might, not that they stand a chance, but I think that they do. There's a shot that K-State actually, amidst the abysmal season they've had per their fan base, they have a chance to beat Kansas this upcoming weekend because of how bad they are defending the run. I mean, it's just really, really bad when it's just not 181 yards. It's 300 yards given up on multiple occasions to opposing offenses. So it's just a struggle that they haven't been able to correct to this point. I would be concerned a little bit if I was Kansas going forward. I still think they can manage, 6-7 wins, maybe 8 wins, but it's going to be tough with the run defense that they have if it continues at the pace that it's continuing at.
Yeah, they have the 16th worst rush defense in college football this year and the second worst among power conference teams. The only team worse than them is UCLA, who has completely rewritten their ship so far this year. And you mentioned that KU K-State game next weekend. K-State's going to come into that one with a little bit of momentum after a big-time win yesterday. This was a TCU team that coming into the game, they were 4-1. They were doing some good things, and K-State really controlled this game from that second quarter on to the tune of a 41-28 victory, and they did it all without their starting running back, Dylan Edwards.
Yeah, I think that this is one of those games where it was put up or shut up time for Kansas State. Either they were going to have a season that was 4-8 or 5-7, or they were going to win this game and prove to people that there's still a chance that they can not only get to a bowl game but maybe finish with an above 500 record. Which, given how things started, I think there's a lot to take from that, especially when you've got a quarterback like Avery Johnson, who it feels like Kansas State is just fortunate to have. I mean, this dude is playing. I know they lost last week to Baylor, but he went toe-to-toe with maybe the best quarterback in the conference last week. This week, not as much the passing prowess numbers, but in terms of efficiency and not turning the ball over, they did the thing. And one of the things that I asked on the podcast a couple weeks ago was, do you think Kansas State has an identity? It felt like for some reason this team was different because they didn't feel like a regular Kansas State team that could grind out wins. They would find ways to not beat themselves, where up to that point, this past week or, this weekend itself, they've been beating themselves in a variety of different ways, where in this one, they were able to get the job done, turn over Josh Hoover 2 times with the interceptions. They held TCU to under 100 yards rushing, only allowed 3.3 yards per carry. All of it collectively coming together. It feels like this is a big momentum win for K-State going into the Sunflower Showdown, and let's say they win it, Logan. They're 4-4. They've got Texas Tech after that, obviously a tough one, but then Oklahoma State, Utah, that has looked vulnerable at times, and then Colorado. So, I mean, there's still a chance for K-State to get to a bowl game, and not only that, but potentially an above 500 record if they keep the ability of not beating themselves going.
Yeah, that would be an impressive thing for Chris Kleiman and K-State to turn around the year after starting out 1-3. And it looked like things were just going to go from bad to worse for the Wildcats with Dylan Edwards being out. So taking a look now at the other side of the state line, Missouri Tigers yesterday, massive matchup in Columbia, taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide in a game that will haunt Mizzou fans, I think, for a very long time, because this game was incredibly winnable for the Tigers at so many different avenues. But it seemed like costly mistakes and decision-making errors ultimately are what led to this loss for Mizzou.
Yeah, look, I think you hit the nail on the head where I think fans are going to think about this one, what could have been. And let's say because I think to me, and I'll get back to the game in a second, I think 9-3 and 10-2 is the line. Where we saw last year Alabama 9-3, South Carolina 9-3, Ole Miss 9-3, they missed the playoff. If you're 10-2 and you're an SEC team, you're probably making the playoffs. So Missouri, the season's not done for Missouri. Even if they dropped another game, Missouri could still, I think, theoretically make the playoff because of the remaining schedule and the opponents that they have. They'll have to beat Oklahoma or they'll have to beat Texas A&M. That's the way that it's, and probably based on that Texas-Oklahoma game yesterday, they probably need to beat A&M to, if they go 10-2, to be able to get in. But I really feel like this is one of those that you mentioned. If they go 9-3 and they just miss out on the playoff, this Alabama game is going to be one that you look back on and say, man, we have the taunting. We score a touchdown right out of the gate. We get a stop. Then we have a taunting penalty. Alabama goes down the field and scores a touchdown. We bounce back. We're all tied up at 17. They end up making a field goal. We're down by 3. We force a missed field goal on defense after an interception, and then we fake a punt after not running the ball one time on first, second, or third down, which is the strength of this team. They run a fake punt, and it doesn't convert. Alabama then scores a touchdown, and you try to pull your way back, but it was just too little too late. And then I think it's easy to go after Bo Prabula in this game because of the multiple moments that he had where it's like, okay, one of the things before the game, Logan, I said, is he's going to have a Johnny Manziel type of moment for Missouri to win this game. He had a chance to have that moment, and it just didn't come to fruition. It felt like, to me, if he didn't see his first read, he dropped his eyes and just tried to make sure that he could get out of the pocket, because it seemed like Alabama's pass rush did a pretty nice job of not only just containing him, but he was more worried about avoiding being sacked than he was getting to a second or third option. You can guess what that is for the whole line of Missouri, but it felt like, to me, to your point, between the taunting penalty, between the turnovers, they were running the football on an average of almost 6 yards a clip. They went away from that. Ahmad Hardy only had 12 carries the entire game. It felt like a game that, to your point, Logan, they probably should have won, based on how they played. Like, if you watch the game, Missouri looked like the better football team defensively, having to go time after time after time and get stops. They were outpossessed by 17 minutes. If you're outpossessed by 17 minutes and your offense only converts 1/3 down the entire game, you're not going to win that game against a good SEC team. It's just impossible.
Yeah, it's going to be one that sits in the minds of Mizzou fans, I think, for quite a while, right? First matchup between two top 15 teams in Columbia in however many years, right? Mizzou hadn't beat Bama since the 50s. Maybe the best opportunity they've ever had, and they come up just short. But I want to kind of expand our horizons here a little bit and talk about some of the other notable matchups that we saw in college football yesterday. And I guess we'll start with, as a couple of Big Ten fans, never thought I'd see the day where we all collectively now agree that Indiana is a national championship contender. What kind of upside-down universe are we existing in right now, Drew?
I have no idea. I mean, Penn State's losing games to Northwestern and UCLA, and then Indiana all of a sudden looks like a national title. They might have the Heisman Trophy winner, too. Kurt Cignetti, their head coach, is a top 5 coach in college football. It's pretty nuts. It felt like, and I talked with Bink about this on Friday, too, it feels like this Indiana team is a little bit better than last year's, and I don't know if it's just collective talent, if it's more time with Kurt Cignetti, if it's Fernando Mendoza is really that dude compared to Curtis Rourke. But the identity of this Indiana team, they've got the confidence and the swag that Kurt Cignetti brought in when he became the head coach, and they've only backed it up. I also think it makes you question maybe not how good Oregon is, but they had to hang in there against Penn State, and Penn State hasn't looked very good. So this is where the week-to-week takes kind of change a little bit as well. How good is Oregon? You know, Indiana obviously looks really good. It feels like it's Ohio State, Indiana. Then there's like a second tier of USC, Oregon, and I'm missing somebody else, I'm sure. But it feels like there's
maybe a USC,
Indiana and Ohio State. Yeah. USC is in that conversation, I think, after the really nice win that they had. But it feels like there's a top 2, and it's Indiana and Ohio State, which is kind of crazy to think about because we never, to your point, I never thought that growing up in Indiana, I would ever see the day when that would happen. I mean, and if you look at Indiana's remaining schedule, Logan, Michigan State, UCLA, Maryland, Penn State, Wisconsin, Purdue. The toughest game might be UCLA.
Yeah. They might run the table here and set up an Ohio State, Indiana Big Ten championship game where both teams are already in the college football playoff. It's just going to be a matter of who gets the first round bye out of the Big Ten in that conference. It's absolutely, the world is upside down. And you mentioned Penn State. After a 3-0 start to the season, you were preseason top 5. You were as high as number 2 in the country, and now you're 3-3. You lost a tight game against a good Oregon team, and things just have completely collapsed. You lost to a UCLA, who is somehow a good football team now. And then yesterday, not only do you lose to Northwestern, killing your chances of a college football playoff berth, you're one of only 5 teams in the Big Ten without a conference victory. Oh, and your starting quarterback, Drew Aller, is now out for the remainder of the season with an ankle injury.
Yeah, it is completely brutal. And it feels like, I don't know if this is going to give James Franklin a pass, but the way that I felt before this game this weekend was, who else are you going to get that can go 10-2 on a regular basis at Penn State? It's really difficult to replace a coach like that, and a weaker comparison might be Nebraska just because of what they did when they fired Bo Pelini, and then it all fell apart for them. But they lose to Northwestern, and it feels like with Drew Aller out, to your point, and just it's like it's just time for a change. It's not that it needs to be messy or anything like that, or maybe it turns into being messy because of how the season has gone. But it's just time, maybe for James Franklin to be done with Penn State, and for Penn State to be done with James Franklin. To your point, we talk about the standings. There's 5 teams at 0-3. Penn State is 0-3 in conference play. They're 3-3 overall. They have the same resume right now as Michigan State does, and nobody was considering Michigan State to be a national title contender. They have the same resume right now as Rutgers, the same record as Rutgers does. As a matter of fact, Rutgers actually might be a better team than them right now, which is just it shows the ebbs and the flows of the college football season, though, which I think makes this sport so much fun. but also so much. There's so much chaos in it as well to follow because every year it never fails, Logan. And this year we might have two teams with Texas, who I think will be back in the top 25, but Penn State for this year really is. There's always one team in the top 10 that isn't ranked at the end of the season. And we never would think it would be that way with how talented this Penn State team was. Like, they were a national title, one of the favorites to win the national title. And now they're abysmal, they're lost, and it feels like they're going to have to reset things in Happy Valley.
Yeah, you mentioned, a team that started the year ranked highly who ends up out of the top 25. You look at the preseason top 25 rankings in the AP, number 1, Texas, who I agree with you will probably be back in the top 25 this week, but as of right now, not a top 25 team. Penn State at number 2, obviously not a top 25 team. Clemson at number 4, not a top 25 team. Of the top 5 teams preseason ranked in the country, only 2 of them are still currently ranked. Ohio State, who's now number 1 in the country, and Georgia. I mean, Notre Dame at 6 in that poll. It's things have shifted considerably from what we saw at the beginning of the season. And speaking of a team like Texas, a team that offensively especially was really, really struggling at points this year. They get into the Red River rivalry against Texas or against Oklahoma, and they come away with a 23-6 win. From what you saw in that game, was it more of a byproduct of Texas beating Oklahoma or Oklahoma doing things to beat themselves, a la maybe you brought John Mateer back a little bit too quickly?
Yeah, let's touch on that because I think John Mateer, for him to come back, 17 days after hand surgery, it felt like it was a rush week where they should have waited maybe. I don't know if things change. I don't know if the outcome is different or anything like that. But I do think buying him some more time would have been nice. It does feel like, though, I want to say it's a little bit of both to your question, where I think they did beat themselves a little bit and maybe John Mateer came back too early. But I do think that Texas is kind of playing for their playoff lives, like we talked about. 9-3 and 10-2 is kind of that line in the sand if you make the playoff or not. Texas has entered that game yesterday 3-2. They lose that game, they're probably, with the remainder of their schedule they have as well, they still have Georgia, they still have A&M. They probably don't make the college football playoff unless other things around them happen and they get some help. Now they're playing for their playoff lives essentially, where if Texas figures it out, I think they can absolutely still be in the playoff. It felt like Arch was better yesterday, even though you're not going to be blown away by the numbers, especially facing a defense like Oklahoma, which might be the best in the country. It felt like it was a little bit of both in this, where Oklahoma had some missed opportunities, maybe brought John Mateer back a week early, but Texas also showcased a little bit more of what they can be. They look like a different team than they did in that game against Florida just a week ago.
So we've completed week 7 of the college football season, meaning we're pretty much right at the halfway point. And when you look across the country at some of the top teams throughout college football, you've got Ohio State, who got a really solid win against Illinois yesterday. Miami was on a bye. Ole Miss squeaked by Washington State. Indiana looks to be the real deal. Texas Tech looks great. If you were to look at who the 4 best teams in college football were, ranking them 1 through 4, who would you say those 4 teams are? Who stands the best chance at hoisting that college football playoff national championship?
Man, put me on the spot here. I would say, obviously, the main 2 are Ohio State and Miami. I think I would still have – I know Ohio State's looked incredible. I think I would still have Miami as the best team in the country. Just with my own 2 eyes, it feels like Miami's the most complete team. They've also got the best resume right now. But Miami and Ohio State are a crop above – they're a tier above everybody else. I think Texas A&M actually might be in that conversation of being in the top 4 teams most likely to hoist the national championship trophy because of the defense. And Marcel Reed continues to grow. It feels like every single week in and week out. And then I'll put Indiana in there as well. I think that those are the 4 teams, at least right now, I'd have the most confidence in saying. But I think you cannot count out Texas Tech by any stretch of the imagination. I also think that Ole Miss can figure it out, but we need to see it to believe it with Ole Miss. Until we see them make the playoff and do something about it, it's hard to believe in a team like Ole Miss. And I do believe that Oregon can find a way in and make some noise and continue to be a national title threat. But right now, I would say, again, you talk about how weird it is. It feels like we're in like 2002 or something like that. Ohio State, Miami, A&M, and then I don't know the last time Indiana football was this relevant in terms of the national title conversation. Maybe never, but Indiana at 4.
That's wild, man. Yeah, and I mean, I like your mention of Oregon there, because I think the Big Ten feels like a conference that could get 3, maybe even 4 teams in. With Ohio State and Indiana, the fact that they don't play each other in the regular season, I think they both have a really good shot at being undefeated in that Big Ten title game. So one team will be 13-0, probably the number 1 team in the country, unless you have like an A&M or an Ole Miss that runs the table in the SEC. And then Indiana or Ohio, whoever loses that game will get in. And right now, Oregon, with matchups against Rutgers, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, USC, and Washington to close out the year, they have every opportunity in front of them to go 11-1 and make the college football playoff, despite not qualifying for a Big Ten title game after that loss to Indiana. The Big Ten looks like a league that could push 3, maybe even 4 teams in. Meanwhile, I don't have that same level of confidence with the SEC, because it feels like a league that, while talented as ever, is going to beat itself up and maybe beat a couple of teams that could be CFP teams completely out of the equation.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and to a lesser extent, the Big 12 is the exact same way. Like we've talked about how the Big 12 has got, they got maybe 7 to 8 teams deep who can make it to the conference title game. The SEC is the same way, obviously to a bigger extent, because they've got more high-profile talent, more elite teams. I think you're right where, you look at a team like Alabama, like Texas has some tough games the rest of the way. If you look at Alabama's schedule, yeah, they beat Missouri, but they got Tennessee, LSU, Oklahoma still on the schedule, and Auburn, of course. Let's not forget about them, even though Auburn have kind of been screwed out of a couple of games. Well, to some officiating questions, but they felt so close, yet they're so far away. Tennessee, the schedule is tough. LSU's schedule is tough. Like there might be a lot of 9-3 SEC teams, and then you're going to be debating between, well, is it 9-3 Tennessee or is it 10-2 Notre Dame? I almost said Notre Dame for the national title, but because if they win out, I think they're going to get into the playoff. I think they will be in, because if you look at their 2 losses right now, they have maybe the best 2 losses in the entire country, because Miami's second in the country, A&M is 5th. A&M is going to jump Ole Miss probably and jump Oregon. So they probably have losses against the number 2 and number 3 teams in the country by a combined, 4 or 5 points. It feels like Notre Dame can still win a national title because that group is really talented. It's just whether they'll get into the playoff or not. They can't afford another loss. We'll have to see how the rest of the season goes. But, this season is so much fun. I love college football. I know you do too, Logan. It goes to show you that every year we get something new, and you can expect the unexpected in college sports. It's just the way that it goes.
No question about it. I love being able to talk college football with somebody who's as enthusiastic about it as I am. Drew, appreciate you taking the time this morning. I know we ran kind of long on that segment, but I was having fun, and I wasn't ready to let you go.
Hey, man, it's all good. Also, how about shout out to the old residents for you? Missouri State, 3-3.
Yes, sir.
They're 1-1 in Conference USA. They're playing well.
They are playing well. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That is Drew Nixon. He is the host of the 249 Miles of College Football podcast here on the Odyssey Network. He's also doing a phenomenal job Monday through Friday producing the midday show here on 96.5, Cody and Gold. Yeah, man, college football, and I agree with him. This version of college football, to me, is so much more enjoyable. And I know that there are those people out there that are anti-transfer portal and they're anti-NIL. And to some extent, I understand the transfer portal, the NIL thing. I'm sorry. I'm for players getting paid. We live in a capitalist society. They deserve to make money off of what they provide. The transfer portal thing, I can understand some of the gripes surrounding that. What is it allowed for? For the first time, seemingly in the last God knows how long in college football, it feels like there's a level playing field. It feels like you go into every week of college football and you just don't know, right? I mean, Indiana as a program, right? Kurt Cignetti, 64 years old, in his second year with a Power 4 conference, that's how long it took him Kurt Cignetti is 64 years old, and he is in his second year coaching at Indiana. That's how long it took him to become a high major head football coach. And the man is, so far in his career, 17-1 in regular season games. Do you know how friggin' wild that is? Does that not sound absurd to anybody else to be 17-1 through your first 18 regular season college football games in the Big Ten at Indiana? That's what the transfer portal and NIL has allowed for. It's allowed for the playing field to be so much more level than it used to be. I mean, just look at the top 25 games yesterday and look at how tightly contested so many of these matchups were. Pitt beating Florida State by 3, Colorado beating Iowa State by 7. You know, BYU having to go to double overtime against Arizona to win that game. Yeah, there were a few blowouts. Utah dismantling Arizona State yesterday, but Arizona State was the number 21 team in the country. You know, Notre Dame downing North Carolina State. Okay, but how about USC? An unranked USC team who will not be after this week, beating Michigan by 18 at home. Georgia Tech is quietly undefeated so far this year. I don't feel like anybody's really talking about them. How about the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets? 6-0 so far this year. You know, they've got a really, really good shot at running the table in the ACC and matching up more than likely against Miami in an ACC championship game. You know, Duke, Syracuse, North Carolina State, Boston College, Pitt to close out your conference schedule. And then they play Georgia, of course, the final week of the regular season in that big-time rivalry matchup in Atlanta. Texas beating Oklahoma by 3 scores after being an unranked football team to go out and beat the 6th-ranked team in the country. Alabama and Mizzou going at it the way they did. I'm not a Mizzou fan, but I think everybody can admit that traditionally, Mizzou hasn't really hung with Alabama all that well. More often than not, they've kind of gotten boat raced in these football games. So, you know, they're 2-7 against Alabama overall, and their last win against them was in 1975. But since they joined the SEC, they've lost to Alabama 42-10, 42-13, 39-10, 38-19, 34-0. And then today, you lose by 3. That's what NIL and the transfer portal is allowed for. The playing field has shrunk. Teams that haven't been as talented, teams that have been more of the bottom feeders and the redheaded stepchilds, they now have the opportunity to infuse talent into their programs immediately through the use of NIL and the transfer portal. And I think it's making college football more fun to watch. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. We'll see. Then again, Ohio State seems to just continue to run over everybody. So maybe they're the only blue blood program that seemingly figured it out. 913-586-7965 is our number. Let's get back to some NFL conversation. We may even talk some AL and NLCS on the other side as well. After hours, Logan Weber, Jacob Mustard, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
What's up, guys? It's Drew. Well, we're in the heart of football season, and the players, they got to be on their game and at peak performance and ready to go when it matters most to try and get a win on Sunday, Saturday, whatever time of the week they play. You also have to be ready and confident where it counts. I'm talking about Blue Chew, a small chew for a big difference. Day and nights just got longer and better for everyone because showing up matters during life's most exciting moments. Turn oh no into oh yes with Blue Chew. It'll have you feeling fantastic. Be ready when she is. It's not just about performance. Confident where it counts. Give her group chat something to talk about because nothing makes you more of a legend than a little Blue Chew. Discover your options at BlueChew.com and get your first month free when you use our promo code KFNZ at checkout. Just cover $5 for shipping. That's BlueChew.com and get your first month free. BlueChew.com and get your first month free, a small chew for a big difference. Then you'll be ready to chew it and do it.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. Their max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Straight Talk, we get it. You say no a lot.
Mom, can I get a tarantula?
No.
Coffee?
No. So we're giving you more reasons to say yes, like a free 5G phone with real unlimited data with select plan activation.
Can I use the free phone?
Yes. See? Doesn't it feel good to say yes to more?
Absolutely. Face tattoo?
Absolutely not. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Taxes and fees apply. In-store activation of Gold Unlimited plan or higher required. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Royals fans, thank you for listening all season long on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
Caught by Bobby on a dive in the shallow outfield grass.
From Vern's On Deck show through the game and then Vern's post-game show, we appreciate you listening every day to the Boys in Blue.
Mill throw home. Ball game over.
And we can't wait until next year.
A home run for Salvador Perez. A historic home run.
Spring training can't get here soon enough. This is your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
Brett Veach. Brett Veach, if you can hear me. I know you're pretty busy this morning. But I need you to pick up the phone and you call Darren Mogi. And you ask that man what it's going to take to get Breece Hall the hell out of New York. And then somebody else should call Mogi and ask him, what's it going to take to get Garrett Wilson the hell out of New York? And frankly, Justin Fields. They are the worst run organization in sports. Like, I know we like to poke fun at the Browns, but the Jets are just abysmal. Broncos end up winning this football game in London 13-11. Justin Fields was sacked 9 times. 9. Breece Hall had 22 carries for 59 yards in this football game. This O-line for the Jets is god-awful. And now the Denver Broncos in 6 games have 30 sacks. Nick Bonito now has 8 sacks in 6 games so far this year. Brandon Jones had half a sack. Justin Sternad had a sack and a half. Talanoa Hufanga had a sack. That was a really, really good pickup, I think, by the Broncos, acquiring him from the Niners. I think that was a really good pull by them. Coming down from his safety spot, had a sack today. Jonathan Cooper had 2 sacks. Iamoa Azuruke had a sack. Zach Allen had a sack. John Franklin Myers had a sack. Dear God. 30 in 6 games is ridiculous. Somebody in the text line was asking about Drew's name. Drew Nixon. That's his name. D-R-E-W Nixon, N-I-X-O-N. That's Drew's name. I don't want to talk about this abysmal football game anymore. But there's just so much. It's freaking staggering, Jacob. The Jets finished, if you combine their passing yards with their sack yardage, the Jets finished with negative 10 passing yards. What? Yeah, I mean, if you take that -10 number and you combine their rushing, the Jets had 82 yards of offense. The Broncos won this football game purely because their offense is slightly less bad than the Jets is. I mean, the Broncos only had 250 yards of offense in this football game. My God, that's just awful. Let's change gears. Let's talk about other games in the National Football League, okay? Cardinals-Colts today. Kyler Murray's not playing. And the Colts look good. Jonathan Taylor has become better, I guess. I mean, he's been so good so far this year. 480 yards on the ground, 6 touchdowns. Danny Dimes has completely revitalized his career so far this year. Almost 1,300 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's completing 71% of his throws, and he's got 3 rushing touchdowns. Colts defense looks fantastic. And with Kyler Murray not playing, the Cardinals are going to Jacoby Brissett. Leads me to believe that the Indianapolis Colts are going to be 5-1 with Daniel Jones at quarterback. Continue to talk about how the world is upside down right now. Chargers, Dolphins. I don't know. 2 teams rolling out the IR cart for this one. Chargers are going to be without their tackles. They are not going to be playing. I mean, dude, their injury report is horrendous right now. They're down 4 linemen at the moment. The Chargers are. Their depth chart looks rough. Joe Alt not going to play in this football game. Trey Pipkins not going to play in this football game. Rashawn Slater not playing in this football game. Jamari Salyer, who is their backup left tackle, not playing in this football game. So their offensive line right now consists of Zion Johnson, Bradley Bozeman, Mekhi Becton, presumably Foster Sarrell, and Austin Deculis. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Scott Matlock is not going to play in this game, so the Chargers don't have a fullback either. Amarian Hampton and Najee Harris are both out, so they're going to Hassan Haskins. Quentin Johnston is not playing in this football game. Chargers are in a bad way. Dolphins, not in a great spot either. You know, they're already down Tyreek Hill. Storm Duck, one of their corners, is not going to play in this football game. Not to mention they're already bad. They're 1-4. But Jalen Waddle went crazy last week. I expect Bradley Chubb and this Dolphins defensive line, to have a pretty good day. Just a matter of which quarterback can take care of the football. Both of these guys have 4 picks through the first 5 games of the season. If one of these guys can be smart with the football, I think that's who ends up winning. Chargers are 3.5-point favorites, however, on the road. Patriots, Saints. Your Patriots should win. Jacob, I can't see any possible reason why the Saints would win this football game. Drake May is the better quarterback. Yeah, they've got a better running back in Alvin Kamara, but they seem to be actively shopping him. So I don't even think he's going to play, is he? Pretty sure he's a healthy scratch, isn't he?
I haven't checked, but he was questionable all week. They had him sitting out. We discussed earlier if it was due to injury or if they were actually just shopping him around, and the thoughts are that they're just shopping him around. I can tell you how the Saints will win this game. If Ramondre Stevenson continues to get touches and fumbles the ball 30 more times, which he is prone to doing, I could easily see the Saints winning.
Yeah, I mean, he's their leading rusher this year, Ramondre Stevenson, with 139 yards on the ground.
He is a very, very good runner. He's a power runner, and he still has the shiftiness to break off 50-yard gains.
But he's got 2 fumbles.
He has more than that.
Oh, he's only, according to ESPN, he's got 2 fumbles and he's lost both of them so far this year.
Well,
Antonio Gibson also has a fumble lost.
I told Mac this. Ramondre Stevenson has the most fumbles out of any NFL player, excluding quarterbacks, for the last 2 years, and it's like 12 or 14 now.
Yeah, I don't. There's nothing that I see from Ramondre Stevenson that would justify why he gets more touches than Travion Henderson does. I mean, Travion Henderson is averaging more yards per carry. He's run for more first downs. He has not fumbled once, nor has he lost a fumble. He is a guy that is capable of catching the ball out of the backfield. I would lean towards playing Travion Henderson more, but maybe that's just me. We'll see. I believe the Patriots win this football game. The Saints are 1-4. They're a dumpster fire. Although they did send out a tweet today with a picture of Alvin Kamara during pregame warmups that just said Alvin Kamara, Saint. So maybe they want to hold on to him. I don't know. I can't really see why you would. I mean, I get it. He's the only offense you have, but you're paying him a lot of money.
Yeah, and the other reason
to be a bad football team.
The other reason they're holding on to Stevenson as the starter is they did pay him $36 million over 4 years. So
and then drafted a running back.
Yeah,
in the second round,
who doesn't fumble, and your main running back fumbles, and you still don't. I don't know. There's going to be more opportunities for Travion Henderson since Antonio Gibson tore his ACL. So it's Stevenson Henderson. It's a good combo. It sucks for fantasy, but I don't mind them.
I think I'm not saying that it's quite at the same magnitude, but I think that it's an adjacent comparison. Paying Ramondre Stevenson $36 million and then drafting a running back in the second round is so paying Kirk Cousins $200 million and then drafting Michael Penix in the top 10 coded. Like, why? What did we do that for exactly? I don't really understand the thought process, but and especially because you see look at what Quinshon Judkins is doing with the Browns right now.
It was more of Gerard Mayo and the Bill Belichick that re-signed Stevenson, and then when Vrabel came in this year, they drafted Henderson. So
so
kind of the changing. It's kind of the changing of regimes.
So the Stevenson contract wasn't this offseason. Okay. That was in June of 2024. Okay, so that was Gerard Mayo. Okay, I'll allow it. Browns Steelers. Hey, we just talked about the Browns. They're awful. Quinshon Judkins has been fun to watch. Leads me to believe that Travion Henderson should get more touches because those two were both phenomenal players at Ohio State. If Quinshon Judkins can do it, I believe Travion Henderson can do it. The Steelers have looked good. The Browns have not. And the Browns are going to Dylan Gabriel now, I guess. And Shadur is being tweeted out that he's the backup. Whoop-de-friggin-do. Joe Flacco's a Bengal now for some reason. Steelers should win this game going away. Cowboys-Panthers. Cowboys should win. They should. Will they? God knows. Seahawks-Jags. Blech. I don't know. I'm not... I still... Yeah, I know the Jags just beat the Chiefs on Monday. I still don't believe in it. I still don't believe in this Jacksonville Jaguars team. I'm sorry. I just cannot get behind it. The Seahawks, I think, win this football game. I do. But for the Jaguars, you get Travis Etienne going in a better frame than you did Monday against the Chiefs with how Trevor Lawrence started to play in that second half, then Jacksonville could certainly win it as well. Rams, Ravens, Rams. The Ravens are bad. Lamar Jackson's not playing. They're going to be really bad. Titans, Raiders. Boy, this is a matchup nobody wants to watch on Fox this afternoon. You looking forward to Titans, Raiders today, Jacob? Does that sound fun to you? Two teams that are combined 2-8 so far this year. I want to see the Titans win. Number one, because I hate the Raiders. I'm a Chiefs fan. Number two, I like Cam Ward, and I'd like to see something good happen to this man. If I'm the Raiders, take a page out of Boise State's book and give the ball to Ashton Genty 30 times. Because Geno Smith is throwing an egregious number of interceptions right now. Dude's got 9. He is averaging an interception every 18 throws right now. 18 passes, a pick. 6 touchdowns to 9 interceptions so far this year in 5 games. That's a game that I don't care who wins because it's gross, but I'm going to go with the Titans, I guess. Bengals, Packers. I'm going with the Packers. The Bengals just traded for Joe Flacco. I don't care. He was bad in Cleveland. Will he have better weapons in Cincinnati? Sure. Still, though, it doesn't matter to me. Niners, Buccaneers. Meh. Normally, I would lean towards Tampa in this game with, no Brock Purdy, all the injuries for the San Francisco 49ers, right? Purdy's not going to play today. Mac Jones himself is dealing with a knee issue, I guess. Jawan Jennings is questionable for this one. Malik Mustafa is questionable. Ricky Pearsall is not going in this game. He's got a PCL issue. Meanwhile, for the Buccaneers, though, they've got a ton of injury issues right now. It seems like the only guys healthy for the Buccaneers at the moment offensively are Baker Mayfield, Tristan Wirfs, and Emeka Egbuka. Everybody else is hurt. No Mike Evans, no Godwin, no Bucky Irving. I think I'm actually going to go with the Niners. I think I'm going to go with San Francisco to win this game on the road. I think Mac Jones should be the starter in San Francisco. It's not the first time I've said it. I'll continue to say it. I understand the money is ridiculous, but I believe it. We'll go through the 2 Monday night games, and then we'll take a break, come back, and we'll discuss Chiefs-Lions one more time around. Bills-Falcons, 6:15 on Monday. Bills, 4.5-point favorites. That feels slightly soft, in my opinion. Josh Allen's still really good. James Cook's been one of the best backs in the league so far this year. Give me Buffalo. And then Bears-Commanders. I'm going with Washington being the home team. Jaden Daniels is back healthy. He's been playing much better football. The Bears, they've got opportunities. They have chances to be a good football team. I just haven't seen them really take the bull by the horns just yet. 913-586-7965 is our number. Somebody in the text line says, I think the Chiefs will win 30-24. That's from John JD, the DJ. Well, let's talk about it. I'll give my predictions and prognostications for Chiefs-Lions tonight, Sunday Night Football. You're listening to After Hours. Logan Weber, Jacob Mustard. This is your home for Kansas City Sports, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City Sports, 96.5, The Fan.
Hey, football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown in the game, but his teammate scores instead. If this happens, BetMGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. With BetMGM's second chance offer, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line. Try a first TD score wager with confidence today. BetMGM. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine. You could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt. But you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. But listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. That's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. Cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. Imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt. And you can stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. Get your all-cash offer now. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
At Casey's, we're too nice to say no. So when someone asked for a free frozen drink, we said, sure. Then they said, every Friday all summer? And, well, now we're giving away free medium frozen drinks every Friday. Free Frozen Fridays with Casey's Rewards. It's not crazy, it's Casey's. See store for details.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay, and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
All right, what's it going to be tonight? Chiefs, Lions, Sunday night football right here in the Metro at Arrowhead Stadium. Game's going to be on NBC, 7:20 kickoff approximately, which, as we all know, means the game will kick off at right around 7:35, 7:40. One of the most irritating parts of sports nowadays is how much later the games start from their intended start times. Regardless, Kansas City is seen as a 2.5-point favorite in this game, over-under of 51.5. That's the total. This game's actually shifted in the Chiefs' favor, at least the betting line has. The Chiefs opened as a 1.5-point favorite, and it's shifted to 2.5. I think this is a game that it has the feeling of first 1 to 30 is going to win. And I look at this score, and I've got Chiefs 33, Lions 27. And you're asking, well, how in the world did you get to 33? Well, I've pretty much come to grips with the fact that you can anticipate a Harrison Butker miss in a game this year. And I'm anticipating that occurs on an extra point and not a field goal. So I think the Chiefs score 4 touchdowns. That equates, and 3 extra points equates to 27. They miss an extra point to not get to 28, and then Butker makes a pair of field goals. Chiefs win it 33-27. This feels like the kind of game where we might see 800 yards of total offense, minimum, where Gibbs and Montgomery have 150 combined on the ground, and Jared Goff has 250 through the air, and then the Chiefs have, Mahomes goes for 320 or 330, maybe adds another 40 yards in the scrambling game, and then Pacheco and Hunt do whatever it is that they do.
About 60 total yards.
Yeah, on 20 combined touches, whatever. Brashard Smith will catch 4 passes for 58 yards, and somehow he still won't be getting any carries. I can't picture a world where the Chiefs are 2-4. Because if they do, if this Chiefs team falls to 2-4, people said I was being negative this week. You're going to panic mode's going to have to hit at 2-4. 10 wins probably gets you into the playoffs, which means you're going to have to win 8 of your last 11 games, including 2 matchups against the Broncos, another matchup against the Steelers. You've got to go on the road to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. You've got to go on the road against the Bills. You've got the Commanders at home, a much better Colts team than anybody expected, coming to town November 23rd, the week before Thanksgiving. I think you got to win this game if you're Kansas City. And I think they can do it. I just can't. I have a hard time betting against Mahomes ever. I really do. Do I think the Lions are probably the better football team right now collectively? Yeah, I do. But the Chiefs are much more healthy than the Lions, especially defensively. Take advantage of the banged-up offensive line that this Lions team has outside of Penei Sewell. Get to the quarterback. Make life hard on Jared Goff if you can. Utilize that front 7 to try to slow down Gibbs and Montgomery to the best of your ability, because you won't be able to shut them down completely. For my producer, Jacob Mustard, I'm Logan Weber. Thanks for joining us here this morning, guys. Greatly appreciate it, and appreciate you guys getting involved in the text line as always. Remember, Chiefs, Lions tonight, 7:20. Sunday Night Football. This is After Hours, 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Don't you just love an NFL Sunday? You got your boys, your couch, your snacks, your favorite games, and FanDuel is sprinkling in something a little bit extra. This isn't just a normal NFL Sunday. It's your chance to place that perfect parlay or hit your favorite go-to player prop, and they're making it even better at FanDuel because they're bringing the bonuses. That's right. All customers can get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. So however you play your game, FanDuel's got your back when it comes to putting a little extra into your account because that's what Sundays should feel like. Visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code KFNZ to download the app and get in on the action right before kickoff. And remember, FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of 96.5 The Fan and also the NFL. 21.